Hello, everyone, and welcome back to College Disc Golf News. With me, your host, Nick Inns, breaking down everything that happened this past weekend in college disc golf. And man, oh man, did we have a lot going on, more than I expected, even a few events that I missed in the meantime. So I'm going to talk about a few of those things, try to get through it. While there was a lot, there's only a few things that I really think are like maybe. Uh, Across the spectrum, really important, some narratives growing and building. A lot of what we had, while interesting and really cool to talk about, there wasn't necessarily that either one shocked me or two was something that was going to be looking out for the rest of the year. A lot of things, there are things kind of prepping going into this final few weeks of the college disc golf fall season that are interesting to look at, but not necessarily something that, we will be looking for in the springtime. There's a lot more narratives and things building for the spring. However, we did have one regional with Great Lakes that really caught my eye that I think is really important and crucial for what we're talking about for the rest of the year, especially when it comes to bids. But if you like this content and you like what I'm talking about, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, let me know that you're here and you're liking it, what's going on. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump into everything that happened this weekend in college disc golf. So the first event of the weekend that I want to talk about is the BYU Collegiate that went down in Provo this past weekend. At the Dragonfly Disc Golf Course, I want to talk about that just briefly. Nothing too crazy happened that you can't already tell by my voice. It wasn't a surprise to me. I predicted this probably to happen, and it pretty much did. BYU just smacked everybody around at home, able to take it down fairly easily. You can see there is a host of blue in the top 10. Noah Turnbull able to take it down. Then you had Brady Spinty of Utah, then Kata Meacham in third, with four down for Utah Valley. Philip Romney continuing his solid season for Utah State, but man, he does not have a lot of help on that Utah State team having to carry it. Craig Bennett showed out for UVU, and then you had a host of Cougars all down there. Tanner Shell, Ryan Bain, Jameson Pickles on the B team, Abe Field, and Luke Backzuk also doing I guess it's Backchuk. I have a K in there for some reason. It's Polish, I'm assuming, but something like that. But yeah, the BYU guys able to take it down. As we look to then the team rankings, round one, the BYU obviously had the lead going into it, and they kept that lead, able to win by 6 strokes over Utah Valley. Utah Valley tied with BYU's B team. Again, BYU's B team showing out a very solid showing from them. Utah's A team then got fourth with 5 down. And then Utah State, fifth and sixth, both their A and B team. So Utah State's B team, pretty solid. Honestly, they were the second place finishing B team. But, this is hopefully a squad that you would like to see, their A team showing out a lot more above their B team and finishing only 1 stroke ahead. I think, it's just a rough showing for the Aggies in Provo. Then Utah Valley's B team finished seventh. Then you had BYU's D team all the way down, +4. They played well. So shout out to them and shout out to BYU. An interesting one that I didn't have on my radar this weekend, but some definitely cool storylines. But BYU continuing their dominance, continue to show why I think they're probably one of the better teams in the Rocky Mountain region. On the ladies' side, Chelsea Harding continued to show her strength and continues to help this Utah State Aggies women team again being one of the more solid teams out of the Rocky Mountain region. Chelsea Harding takes down singles with 24 over, just a stroke above Alexis Ivy, who also had a very solid day. Morgan Duke shot 41 over, and Paige Rowley, the sister of former champion, I forget her name, it starts with a T, but yes, she was there as well, playing well, and I'm excited to see them for this season. BYU's first showing. However, they weren't able to get it done in the teams rounds. Utah State was able to take it down by 6 strokes. And again, Utah State showing that they can still compete at the highest level, especially when it comes to the ladies' side of things. Now, I'm unsure how strong this Rocky Mountain region is for the women's side of things. Haven't necessarily shown me too much in terms of competition outside of that, especially with nationals performances last year. But again, it's a win's a win's a win. You can't take that away. So congrats to Utah State in their win this weekend. We're going to go ahead and move on to the course that you have been seeing on your screens for the past few minutes, and that is Buffalo Road Disc Golf Course, which hosted the Oklahoma Collegiate Showdown, second year in a row that this event has happened. I really didn't know much about these teams. I was honest about in my predictions. I didn't know much what was going to happen, and that was true. Like, I didn't really know anything other than Oklahoma Christian was going to win. And, for conferences and the way I did predictions, that's all I needed to know, because Oklahoma Conference and Oklahoma Christian in singles, man, yeah, they did so well. All of their four players finishing in the top 10 for D1. The thing, Wichita State, man, y'all got to sign up on time. This is the second time that you guys, when I filmed my video at 12 o'clock on a Friday, still had not signed up. Please, for the love of everything, sign up on time so I can predict you guys, because every time it messes up my predictions. If I knew Wichita State was going to be there, I would have put them second or third. I would have had them up there in that top three. Anyway, Josiah Farney had a really good round as well, with Wichita State shooting 8 down, but Elijah clearly just was clearly better this weekend, shooting 12 down on this park course. Super fun track for these guys. Teammate Keegan Hopped also played super well at 9 down. But story of the day with Northeastern State University, they only had one guy in the top 10, but played really solid as well. Max Wicks, 7 down. You also had the winner in D2, Nathan Derry for Rose State, play really well. Also, Devin Miller in D2 played really well, 4 down. Just kind of want to shout those guys out as well. On the ladies' side of things, there was an upset. I picked Jocelyn to win, and Lily Corkle of Heston takes it down with a solid 13 over. Really solid for the track that they were playing. Jocelyn just wasn't able to keep as clean as her teammate and finishes 17 over. We got to see the first time Melanie Lamb this year. She shot 32 over. I don't believe she had a rating. This isn't necessarily the easiest course for a lady. I don't know if they necessarily had all the ladies' tees in place. And let's be real, just about the way that the ladies format for college disc golf goes. Like, the courses they're playing on are not necessarily designed for them. So you could see a girl shoot, 800 one week, and then the next week shoot like 500 just because of the course they're playing. The TD didn't put them in the best position to show their game and showcase themselves. That's why nationals, I think, is so much more important than looking at a score and be like, oh, this person shot 20 over at this course. It's like there's not really much to gauge in because of that, which stinks. So you're just kind of going off. I really just go off more of resume and wins and who they're playing and trying to compare that, rather than looking at scores and ratings half the time, because Lord knows. So as I stated earlier, Oklahoma Christian pretty much easily took down this event. Shocker for me, though, Northeastern State played so well. Ended up taking second in the D1 division, second overall with everybody else. And then Wichita, I didn't know they were coming. If I knew they were coming, I would have said something. But they finished third with 8 down. Heston takes down the win for D2, but that's fourth overall. They were all playing the same track. I kind of put this together like this in order to kind of show you and compare, because what's a D2 win when really it's kind of like they finished fourth altogether, putting everybody in the same place. Rose State finished second in D2, would have finished fifth overall. Southeastern Oklahoma finished sixth with 2 down, so they played really well for this weekend. Excited to see how they do. And then Oklahoma Baptist, I had predicted them high, but they had 7 guys at the tournament. Apparently, they only wanted 3 for D1. Who knows? I don't know exactly why. This wasn't a regional, so it wasn't like they were trying to sandbag or anything. Who knows? They tied with Oklahoma Christian's B team. And then Rogers State was 9th, and then Wichita's B team was 10th. So interesting things going down in Oklahoma for the Mid-American Conference. Always a good time and an interesting conference to keep your eye out on, because there's always interesting just storylines and things going on with this league. And so I'm excited to cover it and show you guys a lot of stuff. But Oklahoma Christian seems like they're doing pretty well, just not able to beat those Kansas States and the Emporia States like they usually do. So we'll see in a couple weeks how that plays out in the Mid-American Collegiate. Excited for that regional coming up here soon. let's talk about the regional with literally zero drama. This was kind of cut and dry before it came in. It was cut and dry afterwards. I mean, this was decided literally after the first round. This is no shade to the teams. It just, there's just not much to talk about. Hot Goat went down in the D1. I predicted Redeemer to take it down, and they did. They finished already before singles. They had a 27 stroke lead. Not that much. They were two or three down, or they were two down in the RIT. Tigers were 15 over, so a 17-stroke league. Sorry, my bad. No need to exaggerate. Again, they shot so well, all in the top four, and the best guy for RIT shot 9 over. Now, I'm pretty sure this was probably their B team that was playing, but there was just not a lot of drama in this one. They had already won it after singles. They could have shot 3 over and still easily won because RIT's B team, unfortunately, they were just not able to contend and hang with the the Redeemer Royals. That's just the truth of it. That is just the way it all shook out on D1, and so RIT ends up losing by a good amount of strokes to the Redeemer Royals in D1. Kalen Schatt takes down another win, 5 down, 998 rated. Still waiting for that next 1,000 rated round for him, but he's been playing super solid all year. All of those guys for Redeemer are playing super well. I mean, they are so good in that Northeast region that it makes it boring to talk about for me. So if you're winning like that, I'd rather you win like that and play well than me have nothing to talk about than me just being over here and complaining the whole time. So about not performing. This is that's what happens, and it's good for them. Good for Redeemer in this. So for singles on the D2 side of things, again, this pretty much decided what was going down this weekend. And man, Trevor Goodyear is really good on that Buffalo team, but he needs some help. RIT able to win in singles with a 4 over average, and Redeemer had a 5 over average. So they were both playing really well. But the problem is Buffalo was 17 over. They were way too far behind, way out of it, out of singles, and it was just going to take RIT and Redeemer playing OK golf to take down the 2 D2 bids. Yes, you heard me. This regional has 2 D2 bids. And with them being so far ahead and there only being one round to catch up, it was pretty much done and dusted after singles. So your final score overall from the Hot Goat Regional for D2 was RIT with 5 down, Redeemer with 3 down, and then Buffalo all the way in the back with 15 over. Again, I didn't think that this would be this. I guess the word is boring that's coming to mind, but it's not necessarily boring. It's just like this good to go. I mean, unfortunately, Redeemer is just so far ahead on the D1 side, and RIT and Redeemer on the D2 side are just so much farther ahead of Buffalo in terms of their development right now. Not that Trevor Goodyear is not a bad player, or those Buffalo guys aren't a bad player, but they have a lot more work to do before they are really competing and executing on that high level needed to get these D1 and D2 bids. So let's talk about the Tar Heel Collegiate. Now, again, I wish there was a really interesting battle to talk about here. A lot of these guys have so much talent over there, but the hometown favorites just absolutely blew everyone out of the water. As you can already tell from this single screens if you're looking up if you're on YouTube. Man, Anthony Anselmo played lights out all weekend, 13 down in singles, 4 strokes over Liam McWhorter, who is no slouch, a really good player, and also beating Owen Rice by 5 strokes. Jasper Till, his teammate, was 8 down, tied with him, and then you had Cooper Aident with 6 down. Still a solid season from him. Zach Rice, the lone Wildcat for WCU, there at 5 down. Then you had a couple of NC State Wolfpack guys, Alex Erden and Grant Woodson, there at 4 and 3 down. And then Samuel Skoog at 2 down and Zane Kaiser at 1 down, finishing out our top 10. I wish there was a lot more talk about in terms of singles and the narrative going on, But I'm just going to go ahead and talk about what happened. These teams rounds, man, UNC at home last year, they were shooting really far down, right? And I think both of their teams rounds, they shot 13 and 14 down. I mean, they were just almost impossible to catch up to unless you're playing at the same level. And let's be real, NC State, they're a really good team. They have really solid guys. In fact, I think overall as a team, they're higher rated in North Carolina. But without that course knowledge and without being able to score consistently as they have been, again, this is a second place finish for them behind North Carolina, in which they just get absolutely blown out. There's no way for them to catch back up. And so, shout out to North Carolina to, again, another impressive win. This is at home. You can probably say, caveat, it's home, blah, blah, blah. But still, to beat somebody by 11 strokes is still very impressive. So, shout out North Carolina. They're playing well. East Carolina, surprise for me. They do have a solid team. I just didn't know how they were going to play. Last time they finished, I think, fourth or fifth at home. So, I didn't know, them coming to UNC, to Raleigh, how they do. But they fared really well. Congrats to them. 18 down. Charlotte and then NC State's B team tied at 15 down. A little disappointing from Charlotte. They didn't have everybody here, so I'll keep that as a caveat. But just they kind of fell flat this weekend. And West Carolina, a team that I predicted fourth, they're really only one stroke away from fourth, so I'm not really going to take too much into that. App State 12 down. I knew they'd kind of be down there. They still got a lot to work on, but it's a solid team. You could see this team probably doing well in a D2 division. And then you had UNC's B team all the way down at 7 down in last for the D1 division. Did not have enough time to cover D2. I think NC State's like D team won, and then their C team got second, their F team got third. They swept it. They played really well. UNC is so deep as a roster. I can't imagine all the membership fees they have to pay, but congrats to them in the D2 division. On the ladies' side of things, we got to see a couple of cool things happen. We had 4 teams here this weekend, one of the largest conference events for the ladies' side all year. So that's super awesome to see. It was UNC's debut, NC State's debut. And they showed out. They're a solid team. Cheyenne Bird from UNC took it down in first place. Then Treya Burnett in second place. Both of them shot really well, really solid. Cheyenne Bird 8 over, Treya Burnett at 12 over. Then Nicole Bissonette of the NC State Wolfpack shot 14 over. She had a really good round as well. Coral Colon Rodriguez, who was the lady to win the past 2 tournaments. These girls are higher rated than her. She's not a bad player, so I expected her to kind of finish a little farther down. And that is exactly what happened. Brenna Daniels of UNC Wilmington had her first showing. She tied with Coral, so that's exciting to see, to be tied with somebody who's already won a couple events this year. That's very, very impressive. Now, through these next couple of rounds, UNC just kept building and building on their lead, and nobody could really catch up in the end. They ended up beating NC State by 17 strokes and then beating West Carolina's girls by a bunch. They had plus 44. It's a tough track. Again, I don't put too much stock in terms of just seeing the score. I like keeping the places, and maybe I'll keep the score kind of in mind just in case for the future, predicting nationals. But again, not all of these are very suited for the ladies' teams unless you have a bigger arm. And it seems like North Carolina, who has the course knowledge and probably has some bigger arms, is able to take advantage of that. So congrats to them for this weekend. So last, and certainly not least, we've got to talk about the Great Lakes Regional that went down. Man, oh man, this was exciting. It was good to see all weekend who was keeping up, who was going to be able to take it down. And again, I predicted a lot of these Michigan schools to do well, and they did indeed show out at home. We had a 3-way playoff for first in singles for the D1 division. Ryan Broek, Lincoln Lloyd, and Ryan Konectges, all from different schools. Ryan from Calvin, Lincoln from MSU, Michigan State, and Ryan Konectges from Ferris. It ended up taking 3 holes, and the final hole was between Ryan and Lincoln. And Ryan ends up taking the birdie, Lincoln with a par, and that was all she wrote for that. John Carbone showing his stuff for Penn State, really solid. Penn State had a really solid year this year, and so they're continuing to show out already. Jacob Bainey for Pitt, surprise here, finished 2 over, a solid round from him. Benji Zorn down on the list. He's usually been finishing higher. But again, this Bald Mountain course that they're playing off, it's one tough cookie. It is a difficult place to play at. And so no making fun of them. They are playing at one of the toughest courses in all of America. Now, when it came down to the final scores, the singles super separated everybody out, and there was only going to be 4 teams in the race for this D1 bid. That was going to be Michigan, Calvin, Ferris State, and Penn State, all of them looking to secure that bid. And Calvin and Ferris had a lead on Penn State going into these teams rounds. Michigan State came out on fire during both of these. They were very far behind and ended up having almost double-digit rounds both times, an 8 down and a 9 down to get to 17 down overall. They are your winners. Calvin and Ferris, they just took some solid rounds, and they got to 15 and tied. Penn State just didn't have enough juice left in the tank, got a little far behind in singles, and they finished at a very solid, respectable 13 down. Again, they were really one of the only teams to be in the mix for it. Everybody else was out pretty early. In D2, the name of the game was consistency. As you can see from the senior scores, the most consistent here was Michigan State. They had 3 guys all in the top 10. You also had Devin Vandell of Calvin taking it down. Congrats to him. Calvin sweeping the D1 and D2 singles wins. Sam Wilson of Slippery Rock with 3 down. Impressive showing from him. Mason Hughes, podium finisher, pretty much always for D2 perennially. He finishes 1 down, tied with Jack Krause and Nathan Simmons, who I mentioned earlier. But again, this was all about consistency and who was going to be the most consistent. And man, I didn't even put Michigan in my top 5 because they have been playing pretty inconsistent. They had finished, I don't even know if they had finished in the top 5 up to this point, and they ended up getting a bid this time. Congrats to them. Michigan State was taking it down. They were playing them a solid all weekend. Michigan, congrats to them. They played really well. Jack Krause and Gavin Bolt really leading that squad very well. They were all finishing in the top 20. And again, this came down to a very close margin between Grand Valley, Slippery Rock, and Ferris State for that final bid. And Ferris State ends up pulling it out on the last day, playing really solid, having a very, very great round over Slippery Rock and Grand Valley, who probably both deserve to be in there. But, they have more chances coming up in the future. So congrats to Ferris for getting both their D1 and D2 bids this weekend. On the ladies' side of things, Grace Dykema shows while she is one of the top women in the country for college disc golf this year, a 3 over beating Delaney Beckett by 8 strokes. I mean, she is just very dominant, almost a 900 rated round from her, just a few mistakes, and she erased, and she could have definitely been in there for a 900 rated round. One of the few to do that on the season, but even one of the few to have an 880 plus rated round on the season. So congrats to her. Delaney Beckett continues her solid year, getting a second place over a regional champion, Annie Lordy, who ends up tying with her teammate Josephine Harrison. Just kind of a underwhelming performance from Annie. She is definitely better than what she played. She has been playing at the level of Grace, if not better. Again, this is a new course for her, so I'm not going to put too much blame on her. She is playing super solid. This just was an off day. They end up not doing so hot in the team side for Pitt. They end up finishing 3rd. That is their worst finish on the year after taking 2 wins. But they're playing against 2 solid teams in Ferris State and a combined Pitt and WNU. I do want to mention that this is something that's interesting. I know for nationals, they obviously don't allow for this, but when you go on college disc golf's rules, this was pointed out to me that, combined teams of 2 different girls don't get a prize, right? So technically, Grace and her teammate Alexandra Speaker, they don't get a prize for winning this event, even though they have the best score, right? Well, technically, I guess that's up to TD discretion, because when you go to online, the only thing that is not allowed to earn a team award is just a single. Now, I guess you put 2 singles together from different schools. I couldn't find necessarily that caveat within that. I've seen girls in conference events from 2 different schools win a single. I don't know. There's just not a lot of clarity on it. And I'm not saying that it's right for them to be the winners of not, being from two different schools. They did play the best. I can see the argument as to why, but I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I thought that was interesting. Again, there's not, if you go on College Disc Golf website, I didn't see any clarifying things, but maybe I missed it. Maybe there's a bigger handbook that I'm seeing that's not on the website. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. I don't have time for everything. There's so much to talk about. We got stuff to get into for next week. Let me know in the comments down just what you're liking about these videos, any things that you have insights from the weekend wanted to talk about. But yeah, I'm Nickens, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.